I'm training for a 5K to run in June, and everyone is teasing me about it because a 5K is only 3.2 miles, and I'm taking the training very seriously. And my PT Deb gave me these progressive levels of time intervals to run with. So I started with you run for a minute and then you walk for 4 minutes and you do that for 20 minutes. And I've got it up now to running for 2 minutes and then you walk for 3 minutes. And so 8 weeks from now, I'll be running the whole length, having built it up to prevent shin splints. And this legendary old guy at the gym, Roy, he runs 8 miles a day, and he runs on the beach, and he runs through the sleet and the snow and everything. And he keeps teasing me because he's like, 5K is nothing, and you're only running on a treadmill. And well, that might be true. But we got to do what we can do. We got to build it up. And in order to get where we want to go, we have to decide that it's possible somehow, even though it seems impossible. And ultimately, we need to decide that it's easy. And that is the theme of this week on Earth Tones, episode 40. Decide it's easy. But first, a sound from our beautiful Earth. I was getting into that. That is the Jambalaya Horns, and I'm playing with them tonight at The Cut in Gloucester. That is thanks to Carlos for putting it together, and we're playing a bunch of music from New Orleans. It was a rescheduled show that should have been during the Mardi Gras season, and now, in fact, it's full-blown festival season. They're going to be having Jazz Fest, and I think it's the French Quarter Fest right now down in New Orleans. All right, for a bit of old news, I've got this great book. So the old news is that this book exists, but a little bit of information from it too. I want to pull a bunch of things out of this in the future, but this is awesome. This is called Music and the Power of Sound, The Influence of Tuning and Interval on Consciousness. This book bites off what you might think is more than it can chew, and yet it seems to do a really good job of being very practical and explaining how these systems from around the world demonstrate cosmic vibrations and how they reflect consciousness and how our star systems and all sorts of things work. So for a bit of old news, I want to bring up that this book exists. It's by a man named Alan Danielou. Alan Danielou. We'll go with that. And I'm going to read a little excerpt. This is about the different conflicts of the musical systems or the music theory systems around the world. This is an excerpt from Chapter 2 of Music and the Power of Sound. These different musical systems do not oppose one another. On the contrary, they complete each other, as they all spring necessarily from the same fundamental laws of which they exploit different aspects. Like the forms of language, musical modes are permanent marks of the tradition to which a people belongs. Wherever artificial systems have not destroyed or disfigured traditional musical modes, it is as easy by the study of music as by that of linguistics to observe the migrations of races and their influences upon one another. Striking examples are the importation of Mongolian scales into China by Genghis Khan or that of Persian modes into northern India. In the West, in spite of the havoc created by the tempered scale, it is quite easy to find the continuity of Celtic modes from Scotland to North Africa, while the modes of Spanish gypsies are actually Indian modes, even in minute details of execution. So, the fact that the music itself embeds cross-cultural, cross-geographic messaging where you can trace lineages directly musically intervallically, vibrationally, that you can study the etymology of something like linguistics, but within music, and trace its history and the conversation that's happening musically that's going back and forth. There's one thing that I want to talk about in a future episode too, the idea of music being the universal language. That's apparently come into some debate recently that's come up in my grad school work, and people saying like, well, music isn't a universal language because people around the world speak it in so many different ways. And so I think what this book is trying to hit on is the fact that, well, music and vibration and sounds are universal, and there are many languages that use those same fundamentals. And I think there's probably a happy medium we can find. I like the essence, the spirit of the idea of music being a universal language, because what we're most of the time trying to say is that we're able to communicate with each other around the world, regardless if we can't speak the same language. All right, for the main discussion this week on Earth Tones, episode 40. This is episode 40, Decide It's Easy. All right, here it goes. At some point, we have to stop making excuses and get down to work. If you've read The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, you may be aware of the concept of resistance. Resistance is the force inside absolutely everyone that actively prevents people from pursuing their creative work. It takes the form of procrastination, self-doubt, perfectionism, and a million other forms of self-sabotage. So we have to overcome resistance. We want to play music, or make art, or train for a 5K. We're going to face resistance. One of the dirtiest tricks I find resistance plays in my life is convincing me that the task at hand is extremely difficult and we're really not quite ready for it yet, so we should prepare for it first. That's a clever trick because I go about practicing or working on a problem, but indirectly. So I feel in the moment that I'm doing all that can be done about the problem at hand, but resistance is quietly defeating me because I'm not working on the work. Recently, I've been thinking about how most progress is incremental. Any single act may not require a tremendous amount of energy, but we have to do exactly the right thing that's going to move the needle. So how can we set ourselves up to do that? We have to decide it's easy. It's impossible until it's easy. That's the thing I've been thinking about, is that it's like we're not able to do something super hard. Anything that we do is a combination of things that were at most like medium difficulty. When you see somebody who lifts like some Iron Man level amount of, some Mr. Olympia body lifter, he benches 400 pounds or some ridiculous number. It's not that that person's not putting in a lot of effort in that moment, because of course they are, but they're able to do it. And it's something that they're able to apply themselves to for a few seconds, and then it's over and they've accomplished it. If I were to try to bench 400 pounds or even 200 pounds, I just wouldn't be able to do it at all. It would be impossible. And easy might be overstating it sometimes, but that's really what we're dealing with. It's like you can either do something or not most of the time, and it's impossible until it's easy. And so I think that has a lot of connections to our trying to make things creatively too. In one of the Pressfield follow-up books, I think it was Do the Work, he talks about how we need to just almost use our naivete, our being stupid. I think he calls it embrace being stupid, to be able to just proceed anyways. Don't get ready for the task, just dive into it and start doing it. And I heard before over the years, the work will show you how it's done. The work will teach you how to do it. And I think that that's really true. It's very easy to say, well, let's work on a bunch of other things in preparation of doing the thing that we want to do. And then it'll be easier to do that thing, so it's worth doing that. It's like, well, that's all well and good, but you might be better off just trying to do something, seeing how it goes, and that's that. All right, What is on the turntable? Again, Minnie Riperton's Adventures in Paradise, 1975. Legendary. What have I said about this, and what can I say more about it other than it's fantastic? Minnie Riperton, Adventures in Paradise. This is not easy to get on vinyl. If you want it on vinyl, you gotta look for a nice clean copy on Discogs or eBay. I got mine off eBay, and it's got all of the case candy, as we'd call it in the guitar world. It's got everything it came with, and I'm keeping it in very good condition. But that's what is on the album of the week. It rose to number 5 on the Billboard Top Soul Albums chart and number 18 on the Billboard 200 chart. I mean, if you think about how much music was released in the mid-70s, you can understand how there would be such stiff competition. But it is funny to think that an album this good wouldn't have been number 1. But of course, there was a lot of great music being made. All right, something that helped me this week. I mentioned it, The War of Art, Steven Pressfield's book. And specifically, he writes about having to accept that resistance is real and it's evil AF. That it's not just like a cute idea, but that it's very much a real thing that you have to contend with. And it's not just something that you can make excuses for. It's actually truly bad. And it really is the enemy, and we really actually need to defeat it. He likens it to like an evil dragon that you have to stab with a sword. And he makes a lot of interesting points about how we've been brought up to see the good in all things and all people, and to see bad characters as simply misunderstood. And I think that that's true for humans and a lot of different types of social groups. But he makes it clear, and it makes the distinction to say resistance is not like that. Resistance just is bad, and it's in all of us, and there's no one who doesn't deal with it. And in order to do the things that we want to do in life, we need to accept that the stakes are very high and real, and we need to overcome resistance in a real way. So yeah, that is episode 40. Thank you as always for watching. And if you have some earth sounds, record some cool sounds on the voice memos on your phone, please send them to me. Visit jakepardee.com for more information about me and my music, and maritimerecording.com for more information about you and your music. And I will see you next week for Earth Tones episode 41. I didn't do a musical demonstration, did I? All right, here's a bonus. So yeah, impossible until it's easy. Let me know what you think about that idea. I'll see you soon.